Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Utter Conversations. My name is Dave. Today, I have with me the team of Mind Commute. I have Ritik, Abhinav, Mahika, Pratham. Welcome you all. Now, starting with my first very general question to you is what was the idea behind Mind Commute, as in how was it born?
Okay, so I'll take that question. So it was basically that Abhinav came up with the idea saying that there is this community that we can make for mental health. And I think, roaming down in the park, and he called me saying that, listen, we have an idea, and this is the idea. And I was like, okay, but we have to do something more than that, right? And he was like, yeah, I mean, that is why I wanted to talk to you because essentially having just a community is like Facebook is also there, Instagram is also there. So we were like, "Ki, we have to make it much more centric." And the biggest issue was that we didn't know anything about psychology. So I contacted Jyotnur and Avinav contacted Mahika, and that's how the core team basically formed. A few months later, we did have Pratham come in so that we can make a more systematic or corporate transformation in that case. But the basic idea at this stage is that we basically want to create an ecosystem
Mhm.
wherein if someone comes on the community and says that hey, I'm having consistent nightmares, or I'm having very numb thoughts and I don't feel
Right,
anything, he can come from that, and within a couple of years, because therapy does take time,
right.
he can then go on to say someday that now I can feel why my emotions are numb or why I was facing that issue, and I'm over those demons. Like they do happen, but I know how to handle them.
Yeah, I know, got your idea. Okay, so moving on, I just read an article. It states that in India, I feel mental health is a still taboo. In India, around 56 million of Indians suffer from anxiety, and another 38 million suffer from and depression. So I feel India is lacking behind in terms of identifying and addressing all the mental health related issues. I just wanted to know your take over this.
All right, Dave, I'll go ahead.
Sure, sure.
So yeah, unfortunately, I agree with the statistics put forward by you. Think of this as a discrepancy. You know, we're often taught in our childhood that our well-being is a major factor which defines how we live our lives. But what mainly it focuses on is physical health. We are never made to delve on the importance of mental health and how that plays a vital role in many aspects of our life. I'd say fast forward to the initial lockdowns, a lot of us were impacted in some way or the other. And I believe that there is no harm, no shame whatsoever in acknowledging that fact. It happens to the best of us. Because guess what? We aren't machines. Although it's amazing how dynamic we are, the amount of capacity that we have to adjust ourselves in different environments, but it's high time that we start acknowledging the emotional impact as well.
Okay. My just next follow-up thing would be that, if a person is suffering from a mental health issue, so at times I just wanted to know how can someone identify that he or she is going through something, right? Because if someone is going through depression, so he or she doesn't know, na, ye ki, yes, I have depression, right? There are symptoms, there are, patterns which come through. So how can someone identify that, yes, I am going through this?
Okay, so I'll go ahead. So basically, a lot of these symptoms start with a major event in your life that occurs, because of which there's a lot of distress, there's a huge change in routine that happens, and there's a problem in your daily activity. But the thing is that in psychology, we learn that you're not supposed to self-diagnose. So it is always better to go to a therapist rather than self-diagnosing and thinking that, oh, probably I have depression. So it is better that a person should, it is always recommended that a person should go to a therapist rather than doing self-diagnosis.
No, gotcha. So as in, if a person has to go to therapy, as in, if someone has identified, as in, his or her has to he or she has to go to a therapist. So in India also, I feel that as in as teenagers, as adolescents, we are not financially independent. And in India, there are paths where families are reluctant to, allow their child to go for a therapy or something of like that. So, what should a person do at that stage? As in, he or she wants to go for therapy, but yes, therapies are expensive, right? These are not something, you can just go. So, what should be the person's next step if a person is stuck at that point?
Okay, so since COVID-19 started, there have been therapists have also been saying that there have been, uh, again, like I talked earlier, there major life changes. People have started staying with their parents all the time, and some families are, let's say, dysfunctional, because of which there are a lot of traumas that people have to go through. So at after seeing a lot, after seeing all of this, therapists, there are various options where therapists are providing with free therapy. If that is not possible, there's always yoga, meditation that people can take up. Other than that, as a mental health initiative, we are planning and trying our best to get get free therapy in our own, as much as we can. But yeah, that is it.
Okay. As in we all are adolescents, as in we have teenagers in our society. So my next just follow-up thing would be that at teenage level, I have seen that many of my friends, as in I will not say friends, but my peers, they are going through something or related to mental health. So how at teenage level, we as a society or as a Jew, as a company, we can, improvise on that. We can, as in a spread awareness at teenage level, because the teens are going to be adults, right?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Dave, honestly speaking, that's a very good question and a very relevant to today's times. Firstly, I think that there is a huge misconception when it comes to terminology in the mental health space. Someone must be upset or someone must be feeling sad, but that doesn't mean that they're depressed. That's
Hmm.
something on even which we at Mind Commute are working on, spreading awareness and demystifying myths about actual disorders and understanding your position. Secondly, as I mentioned before, we should start accepting things for how they are. It's totally okay to do so. Some people don't, because maybe because of the fear of judgment that creeps in. And at that point of time, I agree that it seems sort of valid. But I would like to ask you that if you really feel that, ask yourself this: who am I going to face every day when I wake up or when I go to sleep? It's myself. So it's important for me to make peace with myself, and that can only be done by accepting things for how they are.
Hmm.
And thirdly, I'd say find your joy. And I mean that. Not all of us get calm by doing some sort of meditation or yoga,
Right.
although they have been proved really effective. But something that helps you focus on things other than what's been bothering you at the moment. It can either be listening to music, going on a short walk, or even cooking for that matter. But it's you who has to discover that. Lastly, I would like to emphasize on the fact that everyone, every individual who feels that he or she is going through a phase like this should try and start talking. Talking really helps you calm your demeanor, and I really
Hmm.
mean that. Talk to a close friend,
Right.
a teacher maybe whom you're comfortable with, or anyone
Your
whom you
parents
think would listen
or
to. Yeah,
anyone.
even your parents. Sometimes people aren't comfortable with talking to their parents because they think that there is some sort of generation gap and they won't understand the situation that they're going through right now. But if not your parents, try talking to someone whom you think would listen to you and help you build a coping mechanism.
I feel Mind Commute plays a role in between like this, right? If someone is not comfortable talking to anyone, so as in you guys provide a platform where anyone, if it can become anonymous maybe, or it's up to their choice, and can, I feel, express their emotions, express whatever they are, feeling inside, just let it out. I guess, is this all right?
Yeah, yeah, that's on point.
Okay. So, as if I feel that, our past generation and our current generation, I feel Gen Z is more accepting and open towards change. We are more, we are not reluctant towards, I feel, trying something new, or, taking risk, I would say. I just wanted to ask all of you that, what, as in, what could be something that you, as an individual or maybe as a team, you wish to bring change in our current society?
Okay, I'll take that question. I'm not going to pick any big straws and put something. I'm going to start at the very basics, which is that we need to start accepting things in ourselves. That if there is a change, if there is something that we need to do, we have to step up and we have to do things. We all have issues. Like a very basic example is that, say, we have to study for today, right?
Hmm.
Everyone is like, they do procrastinate, and even I do that. But
Yeah,
at the end of the day, it is essential that whatever fear we have to conquer that. And the most
right,
effective way is clear communication, not with someone else, but with ourselves. Because if you can't be honest with yourself, you can't be honest with someone else. So people need to give themselves time. People need to do, like, I usually do a lot of self talk when I'm downstairs
right,
walking. I really think about things that, what am I doing, does everything make sense? And uh, as a matter of fact, there are times when I feel that probably this isn't going my way, but then I just can't run away from that. I have to accept that this is how it is, as Pratham rightly pointed out. And we have to face that. Whatever is going on, we have to brave through it, and we have to understand that things will happen. Physics make law hai that any object resists change, and the
yeah,
same is applicable for us. But what we can do is that we can reduce that resistance towards change. That only makes us much more adaptable and makes us much more prone to success, if
hmm.
I can quote it that way.
And I also feel that having a self talk, it helps us to, self introspect ourselves, as in as in, because I feel everyone has to face their own demons. No one will come and, you know, as in no one can just, spoon feed me or something. Yeah, I got your point. So, as in, I also believe that, when you guys must be starting Mind Commit, you also must have faced, I feel, obstacles, or I could say hurdles maybe. So, can you just share one of your experiences which you still remember, as in, yeah, you faced this, and as in, how your journey been till now?
Yeah, I will take that question. Oh, thank you for that question because yeah, those challenges taught us many things. Before starting any startup or building any idea, we need to have some research, market study also. So I remember putting up polls and asking questions on my Insta story to people, and I remember people calling me crazy or something like, "Are you? I mean, is something wrong?" Or and because those questions were very random, and that was something weird. And second, I didn't know anything about web development, so I was learning web development and building Mind Commute. So that was really interesting, and also, since I'm in engineering college, when Mind Commute was finally the website was already built, when we started spreading it in engineering college, there are like currently there are three types of startups. First
Hmm.
startup is it is based on cybersecurity. Second is based on cryptocurrencies, and third one is mine, which is on mental health. So you only tell which one will get more popularity. The tech ones, right?
Right,
So people were not that much into it, but after we got featured into Times of India article, people started recognizing us, and that's how we got volunteers. And also, it it really these challenges really taught many things. And as a coder and as a CTO, I also learned how to manage all the functionalities that is going on through. Also, I didn't know anything about graphic designing, so there was many problems, but I learned a lot of soft skills. So
Right.
yeah, these were the challenges.
Yeah, I'll
Anything else,
just
Ritvik? Yeah.
yeah. I have to jump in.
because
Like,
Ritik worked as a backend developer, and
Okay.
we really had a lot of problem
Hmm.
while deploying the website. So he can explain that part also.
Yeah.
I'll I mean, it's gonna be a very newbie thing. If I like, if anyone from the tech community listens to this, like, I was very new to backend. I had a little bit of coding experience. So when I tried to deploy the website, I'm not kidding, I tried to deploy the website 12 times and I
Oh,
failed. Yeah.
okay.
So that's when I decided that, yeah, I'm gonna throw the towel in tonight and I'm gonna try again later. But fortunately it worked. But one of the biggest challenges that I have encountered, and I don't know if it's actually true to put it wholly as a challenge, which is that like, I am an engineer and Abhinav is also an engineer, but Abhinav is more focused towards front end and back end and
Hmm.
coding. I'm more interested towards AI. So the perspective and the thought process is a little different. Same comes from Mahika. Mahika is from psychology background. Jotnur is from a neuroscience background, and Pratham is from the management background. So a very wide variety, or different walks of life everyone comes from. So
Right.
collaborating with everyone and knowing that an opinion makes sense is very difficult when you're sitting together and you're discussing with different viewpoints. But what this actually helped us in the long run is that we actually ended up having a very okay, if I put it very politely, fresh perspective, like how we should go about things, how should we deal
Hmm.
with things, and what kind of content should we put out. All these things have really helped, but even today it remains a challenge. Like, how do we give an idea, or how do we put forward an idea which actually makes sense to all these domains?
Right. Right. I completely got your point. And I feel, all these things might not, as in these just they help us develop our skills, and we don't even know about it. As in, if you're working on some challenge, or you just told you were facing obstacle in deploying the website. Maybe you didn't realize, but now you have learned that skill, right? You know how to
Yeah.
counter that problem. That, I would say, jugaad thinking, as in life, मतलब जुगाड़ बिठाना ही होगा if you are not figuring
Yeah.
out things and stuff. I would just like to end this, and my just fun last random question would be, what's your vision of the mental health scenario of India in 2030 or 2035, maybe like a decade later? As in, how do you view, as in, what mind commutes would be there, and how do you see?
Okay, so I'm gonna jump in. If someone wants to add a point, please go ahead, because I am the least knowledgeable in this domain, honestly speaking. I feel that in 2030, I mean, I'm going to be a very optimistic person here, but 2035, 2040, I expect that it will be basically similar to how you go and buy a Saradon. It's going to be like, हाँ मैं antidepressant लेने जा रहा हूँ. It's going to be that
Okay.
simple. I really hope, from a very
Like a
idealistic
prescription.
point. Yeah, like a
Yeah,
prescription.
that,
एक केमिस्ट से पूछो कि हाँ सुनो ना, मेरे को ना फील अच्छा नहीं हो रहा है 1-2 महीने से, क्या करूं मैं, तो बोला हाँ ये एंटी डिप्रेशन ले लो, एकदम एकदम मस्त हो जाओगे. I
so that's
I
bad,
really
but
dream. No, I mean, it's not like someone is facing an
He's
issue
a
now. You can't
therapist.
say that's
Yeah,
bad,
I
but
don't think a chemist would be helping you out with it, but I think a psychiatrist or a psychologist would be more
Yeah.
common in those days. Going
So
to one
what
will be more common. So yeah, yeah.
yeah,
what
like we
Ritik
don't.
basically okay, so
Yeah, go
I'll
ahead,
go ahead.
Pratham.
I think what Ritik is basically emphasizing upon is that the kind of openness and the taboo thing that exists right now should be, I would say, terminated by then, because
It'll be more normalized.
yeah,
Having a
Yeah,
mental
Yeah.
health
exactly, more
issue.
normalized. That's what I was.
As in, it would be more normal to see my friends going to a therapist or buying and going
As
buying an
normal,
antidepressant.
yeah,
Yeah, it
I
wouldn't.
think
as
Because
normal as
it's
going to a
okay.
doctor, a regular
Yeah.
doctor.
I think the biggest change that I would personally like to see is that एक साइकोलॉजी विंग ना हर हॉस्पिटल में होना चाहिए. आप गंगाराम जाओ, वहाँ पे एक
Hmm,
साइकोलॉजी विंग होना चाहिए. लाइक ओपीडी
right,
डिपार्टमेंट होता है, इमरजेंसी डिपार्टमेंट होता है, वैसे एक साइकोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट भी होना चाहिए. Because
right,
once you integrate the walls, you integrate your thought process. And as far as where I see mind commute by 2040, honestly, I feel that somehow when we go home after working and the mind commute office, I just want to know at the end of the day in my inner soul that I did something and I am continuing to work on something that is making people's life better. And I actually don't want to be a very pioneering part in that, but if that happens, that's much better.
right. I guess Mahika was also saying something.
So this is all I had to say. That it will be more normalized by then, and it will be as normal as going to a general doctor. That is it.
Right, right. And I think that in future also it would be as in right now if as in I have seen as in yes I studied from DPS and in my school there was there was a period once in a which was related to mental health and we had our mental health class so we were taught about it and we were told about anger management stereotypes taboos and whatever all this there. So I feel that it would be more as in if I compare a school from a metropolitan city to a school in a I would say tier to a tier 3 city, so there is a vast difference. So I feel that the awareness related to mental health would be more approachable to the I would say person living in a village and to the person who is also living in maybe Delhi or Mumbai or anywhere in the world or anywhere. And there would be, I feel there would be also innovation in this. As in, right now, I don't remember the name, but yeah, there is a place in Delhi only, where I was just going through. What they do is they provide you with free therapy sessions. As in, I don't remember the name, but yeah, if you go there, you just address the what they do is they get volunteers, as in psychiatrists and people from psychology field, mental health field. They come themselves, they volunteer in helping people who really need it. So I found it a really really nice idea. Though due to COVID pandemic, it is not. I guess it's not working, but yeah. So that is there.
It's good to know that there are people working to make the situation much better with a very selfless aspect to their
Uh,
work.
yeah. So
Honestly, this might come to you as a shock, but this is the first time I'm hearing that a
oh
school is providing someone with mental health education because my school
Yeah,
did not
even
provide
me.
me with that.
okay.
Even I don't think others have had it either.
I
So I think
did.
your
I
kudos to
did
your
No,
have
I
it.
school
didn't.
and doing
No,
something like
in
that.
my no, in my school, I'll tell you, as in there was to be till 8th class, it used to be SHP class. SHP means School Health Program classes, in which we were told about as in how to manage your anger, as in what changes. I still remember matlab, in regard to this, we had a session, as in girls were in separate class and boys were in separate class, and we had a session regarding puberty, how it hits, what's going next, what and stuff. So yeah, we were being taught, but I feel as in spreading awareness regarding middle, it should be started with a very I would say teenage, because it is very much important everyone to know and everyone to I feel know about actually themselves, what they actually feel, what they are made of, and how it is like to be in shoes if someone is angry or having any kind of emotional feeling. Yeah. So
I just have one thing to
yeah,
add.
yeah.
So I really like the idea, Dave, as you mentioned that you had this sort of mental health session between your classes. I believe that there can be some sort of proposition when it comes to schools in different states because uh, I think few weeks back I heard that there was subjects like entrepreneurship and AI were mandatory now in
Oh,
both government and private schools. Uh, so I think even a subject for mental health can be inaugurated in our education system And that can only be done if, let's say, the education board or the state boards in different cities, they identify and realize the need at the moment and sort of work with this. And I believe that they are the sole authority. They are the only ones that can reach a lot of students with this
Right.
particular subject matter.
Right. I completely agree. And I feel that our policymakers also has there is this new education policy which, started in 2020. So I feel that, it should be at every stage, at every level, as in, from a student to a teacher to the minister who is in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, voting for this right the policy. So yeah, that should be there. And I feel in future we will achieve all this. Definitely. Yeah. So it's just I'm going to the conclusion. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming to the podcast, and I'm really grateful to you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dev. Sorry, I'm going to pop in, but thank you so much for calling all of us. It's definitely great talking to you. And we just love your podcast. We did go through it, and you're doing amazing work. Thank you so much for putting such good content ahead on YouTube.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So,